You're listening to an Awkward Human podcast on the 5x5 network. If you want to find out more about this show and all the other cool stuff that we do, visit awkwardhuman.com. Hello and welcome to the Awkward Human Survival Guide. This week we're talking about
pussy power wash,
cat bread and crumbs,
and surrogate partners.
Not sexual surrogates. Hello and welcome to the episode. I'm Adam Dotchess.
Are you sure?
I'm
Erica Elson, but I'm wondering if we're really in the episode.
Are we in it? Or
you welcomed us, but you didn't seem to want to.
I'm not welcoming you.
It was like, you know how like a vampire has to be invited into a room or something? But like you didn't want them
into
to
a
be.
house, not a room.
We've had so much out of order today because of we've had interviews, we've had the dog barking. That's it.
Well, we're here with Jeffrey J. Welcome back, Jeffrey.
Hi,
and
that's me.
Ricky C.
There's
Welcome
Jeff.
back.
That's disgusting. I don't like it.
No, we've talked about it before. It's your sometimes nickname.
No, I don't like it.
It's very rare, but it happens sometimes.
Still don't
It
like
rhymes.
You're the C man.
It's your
Still don't
DJ
like it.
name. Hey y'all, you're here with Ricky C. Playing up some hip hop tunes on this Sunday afternoon. Take it away.
Bwah, bwah, bwah.
That's very, that sounded real. I believed it.
Oh, okay. You got very confused by that.
For a second, we thought we were in a strip club.
Well, we might be here.
So we have a lot of things to talk about apparently today.
Yes, but we are going to be speaking with Emiko, who is a surrogate partner. I'm getting it right, and you'll get that later. What that's about. We're gonna talk to her because I've been calling what she does sexual surrogacy for a long time. Apparently, it's not called that. So lots to learn, and it's very interesting. And we have some questions and stuff, but we also have awkward story time, which
Announcements, things to discuss.
I don't even know what's gonna happen. We have so many little things. Erica had a sensitivity seminar for trans people.
Well, not for trans people, for people.
Well, to help them. Why don't we just start with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Why don't you just
definitely
start
not for
talking?
trans people.
It wasn't-
It was for people who work at a school and who might interact with trans
Okay,
people.
it wasn't like a seminar that said like,
You're
"Hey,
doing it
trans
now.
people, stop being so sensitive."
It was not like that.
Because I kind of wish that would be a thing.
So basically, we've been doing all the because when you work at a school, you have to have different training because you work with certain people, even if they're adults. And there's all these laws and whatever. And so we've been having all these trainings recently. I think partially as a result of the Me Too movement and our HR department just trying to be more proactive. But it feels like there's something like every week. But so they're like, we're going to have a workshop on like essentially like how to talk to trans students in a, way that they feel comfortable, how to interact with someone who might not be out yet, et cetera, et cetera. So they brought in someone from I want to say like some sort of community center, but I'm not sure what it was exactly. But he's like a young... Fuck, I fucked it up already. God
a
damn
young
it.
fuck.
It's they, and it's not he, and that is the whole point of the story.
Yes, Erica was telling
Spoiler alert.
Erica was telling this to me, and she was like, they need to be called they, and I was like, it's just hard because of grammar, and
Yes.
it's like I don't know, I want people to feel comfortable. I don't want them to. I want to call whatever you are, but it's a lot of stuff to remember. And then Erica was like he, and I'm like, no, Erica, you have to say they. And then she's like, okay, he. So she's not very good at this.
I'm not. And the funny or ironic thing was that, so they work at this kind of youth center where they work with trans people, but they also have workshops in schools and, I don't know, big companies, like all kinds of places on like, here's the flow chart of like different LGBTQ and like, here's the pronouns and here's blah, 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 like everything you might need to know, basically. So they come in and they do that. And we had a lot of some people who should have been there who weren't, but some older faculty members who had a lot of questions. And I was like, that's great. Like, I'm glad that they're asking all these questions. They were very diplomatic about the whole thing. And that's much better than them being uneducated. But we left the workshop and my coworker was like, oh, I found that really informative. And I was like, really? Because I kind of feel like I knew every single term.
Jeffrey, you gotta go in there and give one of these seminars.
Partially because of this show, like everyone who writes in seems to have like a different like sexual identification or gender identification, whatever. So like it's like none of that was new to me. And then I proceed to continuously call him he. Like I couldn't
And you
stop.
just said call him.
God damn it! Call them he. I was already fucking up.
Who gives a shit?
And so then I keep saying that, and she kept being like, Erica, it's they. They said they prefer they, and I was like, I know this.
You're like, I'm so good at this.
I fucked it up so hard.
It's horrendous. I hate it. First of all, I do give these talks, and I get booked a lot.
Thank goodness, because
Okay.
gotta
We
make
could
it
have used
easier
a
for
little
people.
levity.
Let me give you an example of something I've said in one of my trainings. This girl stood up and she goes, my roommate's trans, and I keep misgendering him. Oh gosh. I keep misgendering him. And every time they get mad at me and then they yell at me. But I keep saying so. I was like, do you say sorry every time? Yeah, all the time. Okay, well, do you tell them you're trying? And they go, yeah. And but I don't mean it. But then they yell at me. And I go, this is what I say. Just because you're transgender doesn't mean you're not an asshole. That's the thing where it's like, listen, just because you're trans doesn't mean you're not a shitty person. If you're yelling at your friends for constantly misgendering you when you're trying, you didn't do any of it on purpose.
Of course not. I just felt like it's a little bit ironic that I'm like, oh yeah, none of that was news to me. I know all that. And then I was like, I can't get the fucking pronoun right.
And also you're trying and shit. And also, yeah, it's totally fucked with the grammar. I forgot. Can I say fuck on this?
Yes.
Oh, please.
Okay, fuck.
Yeah,
fuck.
We
the
requested
the
it.
thing
Okay,
with
good.
they is like, I feel like there should absolutely be a pronoun that means I'm, non-conforming. I don't really go with one or the other. Please call me by this, like,
They
not
tried.
thing. Except they isn't a great one.
No.
Because it also means multiple people.
No, they tried and it was Z.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Zan,
Zer.
This is
and
so weird.
I dated a Z, and I'll tell you what.
It seems
I
like a
hated
sci-fi.
it. It was terrible. It was horrendous. I just want to be like, because here's the deal. I'm not sensitive as a trans person. And when people call me a girl or she, I don't care. And that's how I feel like everyone should be. Everyone should be like, I'm me. You call me the wrong thing. Who gives a shit? What if I said, Adam, she? Would you be pissed?
When I was 12.
Exactly.
But that was
But
like,
these are grown-ups.
because I got upset being mistaken for a girl all the time because I got teased about it. And because like when my sister was born, I got into like some girl stuff because I got jealous or whatever, and my dad was worried and took me to wrestling matches, which I'm sure made me so much less gay. And it was just really, it was just kind of, I was like, why is everyone making fun of me? Why, like, what is it? What is the point? And so when I got confused for being a girl, I would get upset at, like, it would happen at, like, we were at a checkout counter or something when I had a hat on. But
Totally.
even when I was like 22, I had such a beautiful feminine figure
Yeah.
that people would think I'm a woman. I'd turn around with my
Yeah.
facial hair and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "It's cool. I'm used to it
You're
now."
so curvy. Here's the thing. Here's the one thing that I hope, and I love that you brought this up, Erica, because the one thing I hope is that we get past all the PC, and that I know we've gotten to this horrible PC world where everything has to be exactly what you identify. I hope the other side of this is the no one gives a shit land.
Yeah.
Where
Get rid of
anyone
gender
can
in
call
general.
anyone anything and no one gives a shit. What if we get to there?
I think it's interesting because, in like the gay community, we often, the men will call each other girl.
Yeah.
And, it's not offensive whatsoever. I remember when I was a teenager, I was doing drum corps, and one of our instructors was like very flamboyantly gay, and he would always call everyone girl, 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 girl. It was the first time I had ever heard anything like that.
Wow. I
And-
didn't know I can't imagine a teacher doing that.
Yeah, I mean, well,
I mean, there's
they're not
nothing
really
wrong
like
with it,
teachers;
to
they're
me.
instructors.
Yeah.
So, to me,
Well,
it's way
yeah,
different,
but someone in authority when you're young.
Oh yeah. And so like I remember we were in line for lunch or something, and he was like, "Girl, you're really gonna eat that?" And I was like, "I'm not a girl." And he was like, "Girl, please." And so like after that experience, I was like, okay, I think I think I understand it. It's like not necessarily a term of endearment, but just like an acknowledgement, I guess. Just like I don't know. And so like I in my head, I live in the world where like I call everyone girl at times and
Yeah.
everything, and I feel like it should be maybe approached the same way. I understand the sensitivity around like, well, no, I grew up being a girl,
Blah, blah, blah.
but I actually identify as a man, and like it's like this whole internal thing that I'm like struggling with because people have done this to me my whole life, and that's not what I am, and blah blah. Blah. So like I understand all that, and I feel like it is needed. It's kind of like the Me Too movement, like it's needed right now. Like I feel like at some point it felt like it was. Like we were oversaturated with it, and it was just like, oh my god, this is so overwhelming. I don't know how to be.
Yeah.
But I think at some point, then we move past it into like a good place.
Yeah.
Where it's like we don't need the Me Too movement anymore because people are just less shitty to women.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe in like 50 years.
Yeah.
That just takes a
Really
really long
lucky.
time.
Yeah, it's true.
We'll all be like computer people soon,
Oh.
so then it won't matter.
I think there's
Yeah.
a better
Identify
chance
as
that
as bit
trans
order.
people will feel comfortable than women's equality really happening.
I
And
absolutely.
that's a really
If you
sad.
just like look at the past, like where were we in the 1950s compared to now?
Right.
I absolutely believe, that we're coming way farther than women are.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's a problem.
there's a reason I became a man.
Yeah.
Gotta make that money.
Privilege.
Jeffrey, I'm glad you said that because I was thinking last night, I really want to ask an offensive question like that.
Yeah.
Like, did you become a man for privilege?
Is it like the guy on
He's got the
Seinfeld
white part down.
who converted to Judaism so he could tell Jew jokes? Was that what you were thinking?
No, I actually wasn't thinking of that Seinfeld episode, but that is a good comparison.
No,
It just
but
popped in my head for some reason.
I genuinely thought because I'll make this real short, but I thought when I first realized I was not a lesbian and that I was a guy, because long story short, I switched sexualities when I started testosterone.
I wonder what that sounds like to lesbians.
Yeah, it's weird.
I thought I was a lesbian, but I'm just a man.
I was just a man. And so I switched sexualities after I started testosterone. But before I switched sexualities, I was like, oh my God, I'm not a lesbian. I'm a man. I'm a straight man. I'm a straight white man. I can do anything.
You could be a Nazi now.
I know. And then I became gay and it screwed it all up. So
I think some of them are gay though.
most of them are, I believe. I hope so.
The straight.
Well, they
ones.
hate women, so it makes
That's
sense.
true.
Oh no,
It's
I was.
true.
I mean, not Nazis.
Oh, I thought you were.
No, just straight men.
Oh, I thought. Well, I hope so as well.
A lot of them turn out to be gay. But it does feel, to go back to the gender identity expansion stuff, as if we left it.
We will never.
Yeah. It does feel a lot like gender is something that we programmed in for the most part. Like, obviously we have penises, vaginas, and sometimes in-betweens or both. But mostly that part's the binary, and then how you present yourself and how you feel or whatever is just, it's like all over the place. And I think maybe it's because we've just been inundated with Drag Race lately that I'm seeing so many drag queens, and I'm thinking like, wow, everything's everything now.
Yeah.
But it does feel like that's kind of where things are going, where people represent themselves in so many different ways.
I feel like we
And
can
doesn't
sum it
matter
up
how.
like this. Once something's set, it's set. We had Coke and we have Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got Dr. Pepper. Now we have all sorts of sodas.
Yeah.
But it started
look what
with
Mountain
Coke and
Dew did.
Pepsi. Yeah.
Yeah, Taco Bell,
I don't even
Careful.
know what kind of a gender Mountain Dew would be.
It's the Taco Bell lifestyle.
Yeah. But anyways, I think we
I think
set
those are the computer
two
people.
things and then,
'Cause it looks like coolant.
Mountain Dew?
Yeah.
Mountain Dew is like the
green
rapey boy next door.
Mountain Dew is a lot of things. Well,
yeah, he's
it's
got
also
too
the-
much energy and he doesn't know what to do with it.
It was also Pervert Mark's favorite drink.
Exactly.
He didn't drink water. He only drank Mountain Dew.
Ugh.
Literally never drank water. Not sure how he's not dead.
All right, well, we
But-
started with an amazing story. Ended with me not wanting to drink Mountain Dew.
Well, don't worry. There's more
how
stories
every day
where
is.
this came from.
Yeah.
The-
Now I'm sad.
There's more.
So this is more of like an announcement than a story, but it will be in the context.
Oh my
of the
god, are you
story.
pregnant finally?
Oh my god, no.
I know, it's disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really upsetting. If only I wasn't using so many kinds of birth control, maybe I would be pregnant. So about 4.5 years ago was my last pap smear, which if you're listening, not the way to go, and you should know
Ooh.
this. But like some people are like, oh yeah, it's every year, and some people are like, oh no, it's every 3 years now, and some people are like, you should get that shit checked all the time. You're gonna have cancer.
And some people are like bananas.
And some people are like, I've never had a pap smear and I'm 50. But hopefully not. So I like last time I went and had a physical, they were like, was your last pap smear in the last 3 years? And I was like, yep, because it was 2 years and 11 months. And they were like, okay, well, you should probably get one soon. Why don't you make a follow-up appointment and we'll do it? And I was like, sure will. And then I didn't. And then I also delayed getting my next annual physical because I knew they would ask about it. And I was like, nope. Because it was just really unpleasant. I mean, everyone knows this who's had a pap smear. It's not fun. But it wasn't just the scraping of the inner lining of my uterus. It was just the opening process. Like the whole thing. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm not going to get aroused for a speculum. Like,
I remember when the inner lining of your uterus just used to scrape itself out.
Well, it was more painful than a pap smear when that happened. So, you know, they have to, and then they have to go in, and then they have to put this scraper, for lack of a better word, like all the way up there. And it just like, if you contract in any way, which happens if you're nervous, it's really hard for them to get it up there and it's painful or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to bring my headphones. I'm going to listen to a podcast while it happens. Because in my mind, it lasted for 10 minutes. I was like, it's about 10 minutes. So I'll listen to a chunk of a podcast and I'm going to tell the woman who specifically wanted a woman, because last time it was a man. And I was like, maybe that's part of it. Like, I'm going to tell the woman, like, I'm really sensitive, so can you just, like, take it easy and, you know, whatever. Yeah. So I tell her all this, and I was like, I brought my earphones, I'm going to listen to a podcast. And she's like, you know, it's not going to take very long, right? I'm like, can you just give me, like, step-by-step of, like, what you're doing so I know when it's going to be over? She's like, it's going to be over before you know it. And I'm like, You know, that's like when I got my eyes operated on. They said it would feel like I had a grain of salt in my eyes and I couldn't see for a week. Like, you're lying, bitch, you know?
Yeah.
So she's like, it will really be quick. Like, I do this all the time. And I like, thanks for telling me that you're sensitive. Like, I'll take it easy, whatever. So I put my thing in and she's like, okay, I'm going to put some plastic up.
Put her thing in?
Well, first I put my thing in, and then she goes, I'm going to put some plastic up your vagina. You're going to feel it.
What's your
her headphones?
My headphones.
Oh, your
my
headphones.
earbuds. My show. And she's like, so it's going to be a little cold, whatever. And I'm like, okay. So she does that. And then, you know, I feel the stick going in, and it's uncomfortable and whatever. And then she's like, okay, I'm done. And I was like, seriously? And she's like, yeah, that's it.
Was she good or was she lazy?
No, she said she actually took extra time because she didn't want to hurt me, and so she went in really slow and like got some extra
you've been
cells.
Going to your whole life.
Well,
then.
it wasn't
a man.
Yeah, it was a man, and it
that's
wasn't
why
at this doctor's office.
Erica sent me a text message that said,
Definitely no man at her office,
yeah.
right? Like, I don't want to be tricked. And I was like, you did an amazing job. And she
it's like
told
you
me,
know women somehow.
She told me before, she was like, I will never hurt you. If it hurts, you should stop me. And I was like, yeah, it's probably going to hurt. And I was like, you were right. It didn't hurt at all. So PSA for all the women out there who've had a painful pap smear, it's not supposed to hurt. So if it hurts, tell them, and they will do something differently, apparently.
But does it feel good?
Unless you have
No, it absolutely does not feel good.
It does not feel good. You've got cold on your ass because the little thing you wear is,
and you gotta
comes
scoot
around,
your ass down all the way down,
and then you put your feet in these metal things, and then they just go and just open them up.
Open you up
like the opposite of like an eyebrow curler, and they just open you up like a salad tong.
And you know, there's no arousal to this.
That's how I imagined it.
You're not ready for anything to go up
you
there.
weird salad tongs. That's how I imagined it.
Would you feel more would it be easier if there was like man-on-man porn going?
No, because you don't want to get turned on.
You don't want it. That's the thing.
so-
I thought about it. I was like, I could just like bring Jacob and have him hold my hand, like not to be aroused, but like to feel like comfortable and like have like, oh, like, you're a face that I enjoy. And someone's like, you don't want to ruin that with a pap smear.
And I'll be honest, I'm imagining it's pretty expensive. They use really good lube but you don't want to be turned on. You'd rather have the medical lube because you want it to be a medical procedure.
Yeah.
That would be the worst. Like, imagine getting
aroused and then having that go all the way up. You would be like, ah!
Or for you if you had to have your first prostate exam, because neither of you have had one yet.
It wasn't a prostate exam, but I've had fingers up my butt at the office. It wasn't
Why
not-
if they weren't doing a
For fun.
Oh, well, the nurse wanted to check something up there for about.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
About,
Yeah.
There was. I don't remember what it was. This was okay. So I had a therapist at college.
all
Put her fingers up your ass.
worse.
Oh my God.
sketch.
He had a surrogate partner.
No, in a way maybe, but it was not like Emiko. This was like she would be appalled if this was part of her profession. But I had this therapist who thought I was anorexic because I was skinny, and I could never put on weight. Change that, but when I became an adult, PSA to young people: you get fat no matter what you think. It will happen to you.
Yes.
So exercise young, because when you grow up, it'll be easier to exercise later. I mean, grow up more. Anyway, just, unless you want to get fat, then get fat. But if you like being a twig like I did, it's much harder to work your way back. Anyway, I ate dinner and I didn't really eat other meals, but I'd have a big dinner. I just would forget to eat I'm still like this. I don't like eating during the day.
So that meant she had to put her finger up your butt?
Well, so she thought I might be anorexic, and then basically I was going to get reported to the school by her for safety concerns if I didn't.
Sounds like you were sexually harassed.
I know.
I will report you unless you let me stick my finger in your ass.
Well, no, she didn't put it in there.
Good.
But
You shouldn't.
But she was like a therapist in training, but she basically threatened me, and I had to go to a psychiatrist to make sure I wasn't OCD, because I had said my dad is a little OCD, and she took that as like, oh, there might be a big problem, and he's got to get this checked out. Went there, and he's like, you might have a few tendencies, but you're definitely not OCD. And I'm like, thank you. I mean,
So
no offense, but no shit.
Yeah, what did it go up your ass?
I'm working on it. There's a lot that happened here.
Oh, okay.
So I don't remember exactly how the anorexia thing got me to the nurse's office, but I had to go in there for like a diet checkup, and I think maybe I had said something about, I don't put on weight very easily, so maybe I have like hyperthyroidism or whatever one of those things are. I can't remember what it was, but I said something casually, and I should have learned at that point that you don't do that at the school, Emerson College, if you're listening.
And that it's a gland. It's a gland. The prostate is a gland. Yeah. So hyperthyroidism.
I don't know. Like 2 minutes later, she had fingers up my butt. I remember there being two, but I might be remembering that wrong. But it wasn't a big deal. I mean, like, it wasn't the first thing that went up my butt, obviously. And they like use so much lube, and so when everyone always is worried about, I mean, like a prostate exam, way different, because usually you gotta like have everything cleared out, and when you're 50, like a camera is gonna go up there, and that's much different having it all the way up in your intestines, like. No matter how much you want to get fucked by a dick, you don't want a dick fucking your intestines.
Well, it's the same way. It's not like a dick going up your vag when you have this really, really long stick going way further than it should.
And that was my point, was that you don't want to get a boner while you've got this lube thing going on inside you. Is that like, you don't want to be turned on.
I got so far off the point. I didn't know where it was.
So I have a question then, because it what I always picture is that they like have this long thing that they're sticking up you, but they like lube it up and then they stick it in. Do they lube up your vagina as well?
Well, yeah, they lube. So it depends on which part of it. But yeah, there's some things that happen.
But like, they don't just like let it go in. Like, it's good and ready, but you're not.
The problem that I'm having here for anyone who's just listening is that every time you make that motion, it's so forceful. Like you're stabbing them. Like you're a Three Musketeer just stabbing.
Yeah, you gotta slide it in.
They still slide it in.
This job.
No. Yeah. I know that they slide it. That's just my motion.
I know.
Like fencing.
I want to say, when he puts it in, he says, "On guard."
Richard, you take life by the balls. Or you take life by the hilt and stab people with life.
But what I'm curious about is if they lube you up.
Well, no, it's
as
like,
well. Where's the lube going?
That's they put it on the speculum.
Yes.
They put it on the speculum, and it's totally enough to like.
But they don't like put lube on their hand and like as
rub it.
as a sexual partner might like put it gently inside of you and rub your vag. No.
Would that be-
They don't dip
would
it
that
into a
be
tub of
easier?
KY and it comes out like a cactus.
And I don't
If they
think
did that?
No, I think it would make
be
it worse.
weird.
Yeah, I think it would make
Because
it
I'm not
worse.
like thinking about it in a sexual term. I'm just saying like.
But it would be sexual.
And then that would make it weird.
yeah.
And so,
you
like-
can't really lube up a vag with your fingers without it being sexual.
No, not at all. No.
So you would rather not be lubed up
I
and
could
have the
lube it.
speculum?
I could lube myself. I would be okay with that.
I think I'd be okay with that
because
too.
especially if it's just the idea of just putting lube in there to prepare,
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel like I was jerking it. I would just be like, oh, I'm preparing my vag for a procedure, and then someone would put something in. But if the doctor was like massaging it into me, I'd
Yeah.
be like, that was weird.
I feel the same way because I feel like so you've got like a sensitive inside. I've got the terrible problem of having a tiny vagina, and so
Like
it
child
hurts
tiny,
because it's
or-
big. I mean, I don't think I'd ever feel comfortable with saying child tiny vagina ever. I think that would be inappropriate.
My
to
ex
say out
friend
loud.
Megan, they had to use a children's speculum.
Well, so that yes, that I
That's why
have to
I
use
bring
a
that
child.
up.
Yes, because one finger hurt. Back then, the last time I went, which was whopping
More than 3 years
It-
ago.
it-
9.
9.
It was right before I got the Ute Scoop Boogie, which
The
is
what?
what I call
I'm
when I
sorry.
get my uterus out. I call it the Ute Scoop Boogie.
The boogie.
Ute Scoop
You'd
Boogie.
scoot boogie.
It's when I get my uterus out. So I had to go to I had to go to the gynecologist. I was a trans man, and I'm in there, and it's a bunch of pregnant girls, and I'm in there, and it's like New Mom magazine's the only thing on the table, and I'm like, what do I say? I'm the only guy here. Okay, I'm gonna say my mom's here. No, that's weird. What do I say? What do I say? And then they go, Jeffrey, your appointment, and I'm like, shit. I'm the only dude in here, and I'm so self-conscious about walking into this gynecologist's office as the only dude.
Hey, you confuse lesbian and masculinity, so let them do it.
Yeah. Well, I go in though, and then it's a dude, gynecologist, and I walk in. I put my feet in the fucking stirrups, and he's like, "All right, open up." I'm like,
Oh.
first of all, I'm both
Why
impressed.
would you ever want to be a woman? This sounds so horrible.
I know. I'm both impressed by his lack of bedside manner, and secondarily impressed by the fact that he was not shocked that there's just a dude in there with his legs open. And
I think all of Congress, the men anyway, should have to go through this process, and right before they vote for something that has anything to do with not their gender, because I don't see how you, like, even if they can't get it put in their vagina at all. You could probably simulate something with the asshole that would at least give them some idea of the intrusiveness of the procedure. But jeez, like, oh, I would sit there and watch the whole thing.
oh, it's
I would
insane.
love it.
I'll tell you what though, this guy was amazing. I was like, hey, P.S. I'm a dude with a tiny vagina, which is an interesting string of words to put together. But he was not fazed by it. Apparently, he'd seen a trans man before, and he's like, okay, it's cool. So he used the children's one. He went, and he goes, and I go, listen, because the reason I came in is because when you start T, your uterus shuts down, so it starts to hurt, and it could be cancerous. And he scoots his chair back, you know, like that roll where you like scooch back with the roll, closes my legs, and he goes, all right, you want to get it out? And I was like, what? He's like, you want to get a hysterectomy? And I was like, yeah, that would be great. He goes, insurance will cover it. And I was like, yeah. He goes, how's Thursday? And I'm like, I'm not a truck.
Made a sale.
You're not just
No wonder he
taking out
loves
a part.
trans people. He's like, I can get all the
I know.
you know, that
Yeah.
H money.
He was doing it like a transmission. Like it was, and so
what a great double meaning there.
I know. And so I was like, I'm not a truck, dude. All right, Thursday's fine. And like 3 days later, I
No
got
more?
it out. And then I never went back because I figure I don't have a uterus. Screw it.
Oh
But-
yeah. So what pap do they have to smear?
I don't know. I don't know what
Do
they
they
would
have
smear.
to check anything?
I don't know what they would check.
Maybe you should
it-
ask.
I think I'm supposed to still go.
Is it basically just like a fuckhole now?
That's what I was wondering the other day. Because the other day,
I feel like you you should at least know.
Well, the thing is, the other day, so I'm 11 years on testosterone. Well, actually, I'm 11 years transitioned and a lot of years off testosterone because I'm lazy. And
But you do it when you get around to it.
yeah, my girlfriend's like, so I've been off T for like 2 years. And so my girlfriend's like, you
I
can't.
thought you got back on for a little while.
I did, but then I got off again. She
Give
goes, you
yourself
can't
credit."
half-ass being transgender. And I was like, you can half-ass anything. So anyways, it was
You have a
hurting the
whole
other
half of an
day.
ass left over for
Yeah,
later.
exactly. So it was hurting, and I was like, I wonder what hurts. There's no uterus. There's no ovaries. Something's hurting in there. And also, where does it go?
Where does what go?
Whatever
cum?
was in there.
Oh.
I don't know where the uterus led to. Does it lead to other places?
Oh, is it like? Do you think it's like Narnia somewhere?
Do they just close it? I don't know.
You mean like what took its place?
Well, yeah. Well, like, what does it go? I don't know.
They probably. Do you think they just? Maybe they just.
I mean, it can expand into a womb, but
I know, but I don't know if do I still have a womb? Is the womb just floating around in there? We need a
I feel like
magic
the
school
womb
bus
only happens
episode.
if it needs to. You know, it's like a pouch, like an inflatable pouch. So
Oh.
if that can happen, then the reverse should be able to happen, where it's like, oh, it's like it was never there.
Yeah, I'm like a trans kangaroo.
I like
They should
that.
turn it into a storage compartment. If you're not using it, like, why not
Oh my
keep your
God.
wallet in there or something?
I would love.
Well, you
to
don't
do
want it
that.
to accidentally fall out, like
What-
it did with me.
It's true.
Put a zipper on it.
Or end up becoming multiple wallets, and then I've got a ton of wallets.
Like because if they take it out, then they could just install like a door on the front of you that you open up and put. I mean, I don't know how the space kind of works itself out. I'm
Transgender
just saying,
people
like,
hate me.
Next
I'm
time
so
you go to the
offensive.
doctor, find out, report back.
Yes. Wait.
Well, he's gotta
next
go
time
to
you
the
go,
doctor.
or that
No, next
I
time
go?
you go, I think it's your question to ask.
Hey, I got this trans friend. Does he have a pouch?
Where does it go?
I mean, I think you could definitely call this doctor, even though it's been 9 years. It seems like he knows how to make this shit happen.
I
so
know. Oh my gosh, I
It
love
has
you
to-
guys. So I'm sorry we went so off the rails.
That's okay. Maybe we should
like that
answer
was
some
my fault.
questions.
Probably.
Yeah,
but
I'm
first,
sorry.
let's talk to Emiko, who is going to teach us about surrogate partners. Getting it right. Okay.
Yeah.
We are speaking with Emiko Yoshikami, who is a surrogate partner, which I have been calling incorrectly a sexual surrogate for, I don't know, like my whole life. So we're gonna do some learning today, and I'm gonna find out how wrong I am. But Emiko, thank you for joining us, and I've already learned something, and we haven't even started.
Oh, that's great. Well, good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. We've actually had some questions come in about what is not sexual surrogacy, but I've been maybe incorrectly stating. I guess as a starting point, what is a surrogate partner? What do you do? How does that whole thing work?
Yeah, so surrogate partner therapy is the term that we use to refer to this modality. And surrogate partner are people like myself who practice in the modality. And a lot of people use the term sexual surrogate or sex surrogate. And it's kind of an antiquated term. And the reason that we kind of steer away from that term is because the emphasis is so much on sex. And we know living in this, very sex negative culture that people hear that word and then immediately have preconceived notions and think that this is just about sex, when in actuality, it's much more about the partnership. So we use the term surrogate partner. So it is a therapeutic modality. We work with therapists or qualified clinicians, and they are the ones who kind of put the format together of, learning a client's needs. And we all get together, me and the client and the therapist, and talk about their goals and talk about what they want to be doing here, expectations. And then I actually work with them as a partner. So the therapist is doing the talk therapy and the processing, mental processing. And I come in and I build real relationships with clients. So I'm acting as their partner, and we're going through a process of a relationship together.
That sounds wonderful. And we got a little bit of a preview of how this all works because you were on an episode of This Is Life with Lisa Ling, which for anyone who wants to check that out, season 4, episode 1, it was very interesting. And there was a lot more to this whole process that I didn't know. You had a whole thing where you get naked, look at yourself in the mirror, talk about your body. I did that last night just as an experiment because I thought it seemed like it was so powerful for them. And I think I've kind of like done that in my head before, but it was interesting to hear it out loud. And
Oh my gosh, that's great.
yeah, I think it's so much braver to I guess do it with other people, but it was interesting. And so, is that a normal exercise that you have?
Yes.
Is that like kind of part of most sessions, or does it get crafted into different things? Like what are the sorts of things that you do with people to help them?
Yeah, that's a great question. It is something, it's a staple of our work. So most of the time we do the mirror exercise, and it's a transition from, when we are completely clothed and we're doing breathing exercises or sensate focus exercises, getting to know each other. And then it's a way, right, to introduce each other to our own bodies, our own naked bodies, and to each other's. So it's something that I think most all surrogate partners do as part of their work.
I didn't actually get to see it. What actually are you doing when you're doing a mirror exercise?
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't
So
see it.
Oh yeah, I suppose I didn't really explain that a whole lot.
Yeah.
No, that's okay.
So in the exercise, I get naked with my clients. And this is a way to show that, nudity does not equal sexuality. And also to show, hey, we have real bodies. We're not all these stars and made up. And to find out kind of what our relationship is like with our bodies. So we take turns. I stand in front of a mirror first, a full-length mirror, and I talk about my body. So I talk about my hair, my eyebrows, my eyes, and I go down from, my head to my toes, talking about things that I think about my body, messages that I've heard. And it's a way to get really vulnerable with each other, A, and B, to really learn what we think about our bodies and what that relationship is like.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was a really cool thing, and interesting too. I remember there was some video going around online where people described what they looked like, and then other people described what they looked like, or there was a artist drawing or something. I don't even remember what I'm talking about, but
Sounds familiar.
It was one of those. It was put on by like Dove soap or something, and and they found out that people see me as more beautiful than I see myself, and it was very emotional. And I felt a lot watching the episode that it was that kind of experience where I felt like you were all being somewhat critical sometimes, a little bit, because I mean we all are, and that's normal, not a bad thing necessarily. But like my reaction was like, no, you're all like so much better looking than you're saying you are, and it was emotional as a viewer. So it was just a really fascinating thing to watch. But I don't want to. I feel like I'll talk forever if I keep thinking about it. And I know Richard has some questions, and Erica, your boyfriend at least has a whole bunch of questions.
Well, we watched the Lisa Ling episode together, and he was just like fascinated by that whole experience that she went through. Did you guys know that she was planning on participating in the mirror exercise, or was it totally spontaneous?
I did not know. It was really the exercise was planned, right? So Justin and I, we knew we were doing it. And I hear that Lisa Ling was thinking about it beforehand, but I had no idea. So when she proposed that, it was a complete shock.
She seemed surprised by it.
Yeah, I guess for the listeners who didn't watch this, the host Lisa was like, she watched them both go through the exercise, and she was like, I feel like you guys are really brave, and I've had struggles with my own body after giving birth, and I feel like I just need to get naked right now. And she's like, I think I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, it was pretty powerful. And I love that this is inspiring people to try this exercise. Like, Adam, I think that's awesome that you went home and did that.
Oh, I was already home.
It's powerful.
I didn't have to go anywhere, but it was just even more convenient that way.
So one of the things that I think is this kind of therapy is not, I don't think, as widely known as it should be. And what I found really fascinating, just for myself, was that you had two different clients that you were showcasing, and you had very, very different approaches because they had very different issues to deal with. And it was great to see that kind of like put out there, because it is something that occurs. Like, everyone has their own different issues. One of the questions I had was, when you're building this relationship and trust with your clients, do you ever come across kind of having to set boundaries, or how do you do that where your client isn't becoming too attached to you in a way that isn't supposed to be?
So the question of attachment and boundaries is really interesting. And something that I tell people is that though this is a very specific kind of relationship and very bounded, it's still an authentic relationship. So there is a concern, what if clients fall in love with you? And that has happened, and that is not something that I feel like we should shy away from or discourage, honestly, because that is a beautiful part of a relationship. And there can be that love and that intimacy, and we can also know, yeah, it's going to end. And we can do that with care and compassion and real awareness. And the way that I think about it is that I want clients to really let that love in, to build the capacity within themselves and to understand that it's their capacity. It's not about me. It's not like this is all about Emiko and she's the one and things like this. It's their own capacity that they can then take out into the world and spread. Does that answer your question? I can't see your face. So I'm not
no,
sorry,
okay.
I'm just like sitting here nodding like, yes.
Yeah, I know. We're all sitting here looking at each other going, yeah.
I guess my follow-up question to that would be, I guess if you're in like a day-to-day situation and this happened, like someone fell in love with you while you were maybe not expecting it, probably the person would be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not interested, and move on or whatever. Like there wouldn't have been any touching or emotions or anything involved. Like it's easy to be like, oh, I don't feel that way. So in the situation where like that happens, where you're kind of feeling that you have a professional relationship and they're like, if someone falls like deeply in love with you, how do you continue to do like the work that you're doing while letting them know that like this isn't going to be something that you feel as well?
Well, it's interesting. I think that we're allowed to have all sorts of feelings and responses to other people, and it's not something that I try to cut off. Like I actually don't think it interrupts or interferes with the work. I think it's a wonderful part of the work, or can be.
So you just kind of let it happen.
I'm sorry?
You just let it happen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, when things come up like fears, oh my gosh, this is going to end, or is this appropriate, then we deal with it. And they deal with it with their therapist as well. And honestly, I haven't had clients, fall madly in love where they say, like, I can't let go of you, and, you're the one. So, but clients do, I mean, there's real love being built. So what we do with that love is we're just aware of it, and we pay attention to it, and we hold it, and we see how it unfolds. And we also remember that there are boundaries. I have very strong boundaries, texting and emails and phone calls. They are only for the purpose of, figuring out logistics for the session. They know that we're never going to, have coffee or go to the movies outside of sessions. And they know that when the therapeutic relationship ends, then that's the end. We're not going to, go out and have a affair and love afterwards. This is really for their healing, for a specific purpose. And then in that context, I feel like the love is not a bad thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Jeffrey, I think you have a question?
I do. I have a question. And again, I didn't get to the chance to see the episode, but it sounds like everything you're referring to is something I feel like everyone deals with.
I'm sorry, could you speak up a little?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have the softest mousy voice ever. And I wish I could do that in a mirror and just accept my mousy voice. But no, what are the reasons that someone would come to you? Because I feel like a lot of these issues, I mean, if a therapist told me, yes, you don't accept your body, you should go to someone, I would totally do it. But what are the biggest reasons people come to you or get referred to you?
What are they?
Yeah, what are the biggest issues, or like, what are people struggling with that they come to you? Because to me, it sounds like I think all of us could look at a mirror and accept ourselves or work on issues. But what are the issues that people really come to you mostly?
Well, I love that you said that. Yes, I mean, I feel like we could all really do some beautiful work that is within the context of surrogate partner therapy. And people come in for all different reasons. A lot of people haven't had a lot of great experiences sexually or intimately, and they, there are impasses that they want to try to figure out. a lot of disconnection with their bodies. We live in a culture that doesn't really pay a lot of attention to how we're feeling in our bodies, to what's going on. So, people who want to feel more embodied, definitely people like Keith on the show who have experienced sexual trauma and need to work in a very safe environment for that. People who are questioning their gender, sexuality, and kind of trying to figure that out. But I think it all goes within the larger umbrella, which I think covers almost all of us, of, getting more in touch with our bodies, finding what feels authentic and pleasurable to us, learning to love our bodies more, to feel really connected with who we are as sensual, sexual, intimate beings.
So in the episode you dealt with, as I said, 2 different cases, and with Keith, he was more struggling with, his sexual trauma in the past, and I really enjoyed the fact, or not enjoyed, but I really appreciated how you worked with him, where everything was asking for consent, everything was, may I do this, may I do that, and so it was really great to see that. I guess I just wanted to mention that. But my question is, what we saw were 2 single men. Do you ever work with couples that might be dealing with sexual trauma or acceptance of their sexual being?
So I personally don't. Other surrogate partners might. There's a question, because this is important work potentially for couples, and there are sex therapists who work with couples, and a lot of the exercises and the tools that we develop are about working with couples, so that often they'll give couples the assignments to do with each other, so helping them kind of work with each other. But I have worked with clients who have a partner who is not wanting to do that particular work. There's issues that come along with that, so they I always work with people who have the permission of their partners to do this work with me, and then I can help that couple, but through that through working with one of the partners.
Okay.
And also I do work with women and trans clients as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm Jeffrey J. I'm transgender. So,
I couldn't hear you.
So sorry, I'm. This is Jeffrey, and I'm trans, and that's why I think that's one of the reasons I was asking about, what you were dealing with body issues and such earlier.
Right.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Thank you.
I had a question about how you talk about your job in your personal life. Like, if you start dating someone, at what point do you bring it up? Is it something that you prefer to be like super open about right away, or do you want to get to know someone before you talk about what you do?
That's great. I am super open. I tell everyone what I do. I'm always very curious how folk are going to respond. In terms of dating, I've only been doing this full time for, I think, 3.5, 4 years. 4 years. And I actually started seeing someone when I was beginning doing this work, and was completely open. Hey, this is what I do. And he was completely cool with that. He thought that was great, that I was helping people. So I've been in a relationship with him this whole time, and he's very supportive. And though I'm polyamorous, I haven't been out there on the dating scene that much at all. But if I were to be, this is a big, important part of my life that that I actually really, really love and feel grateful for, and it's something that I want to share with people.
That's great. I guess with dating, I always lose my train of thought in the middle of a question. But I don't remember. Erica, do you have another question?
Well, actually, I had a thought when we were talking about the reasons that people come to see me. Also, our culture, as I'm sure we're all aware of, has horrible messages, right? About bodies, about sexuality, about what we're supposed to do. And I feel like so much of my work is undoing those messages to be able to be like, hey, who I am is pretty great, and that I don't have to subscribe to a certain way of having sex or being a sexual being. I can find pleasure my own way. And it's really interesting because, well, now I'm just going to go off on a tangent. A lot of clients come and see me because they feel like something is wrong with the way that they function, so they want to delay ejaculation. They want to have strong erections, kind of following the prescribed model of what sex should look like, which is totally fine. People come in with those issues, and that's great. We're going to work with them. But what's really interesting is that it's when we drop the goal of having that certain erection or ejaculating at this certain time, if we drop that and we just pay attention to pleasure and we just follow the pleasure, then actually things end up unfolding just, the way that people wanted them to in the first place.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's ends up being a problem with people in all sorts of places, because it's a lot of the times we want to do something, we see this far off goal of something we want to accomplish, and then we're like, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to get it done. And then we realize I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm still trying to get there. And a year goes by, and suddenly we haven't figured it out or whatever. And it's just like when you get so focused on the end goal, you forget about the process and all the good things that happen in between and the things you actually have to do, and just let it happen. Sometimes it's a little easier to go through.
And it's sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
And it's interesting, in so much of our work life, we need that analytical mind, and we use it, and we're like, okay, we have goals. Let's figure out how to get from point A to point B. Let's figure out what's wrong. Let's, find the errors and correct them. And when we're working with bodies, oh my gosh, that analytical mind so gets in the way. It starts running. It starts, narrating. It does all these things that are not useful at all. So much of the work is like, how's the body doing? So let's really check in. And let's kind of get out of the way. Let's let the mind kind of slow down, really slow down. Doesn't have to have that narration all the time. Kind of get out of the way and fully feel into our bodies. And it's a different way of experiencing the world, I feel like.
I think it's super important. That's something that I had to get through personally. I don't know anybody with a more analytical mind than me, and I don't mean that in a good way. I mean, I can't turn it off. But I had to learn how to turn it off for sexual purposes, because I could not stop thinking and worrying about stuff. Is this working right? Am I doing this okay? Is everybody happy?
Oh, that's great. You get it. Yes.
So, it's overwhelming, and it makes sex very difficult. So it's nice to hear that. A lot of things that are that came up on the episode and that we've talked about today. It's like sometimes it just helps a lot to hear that this is not abnormal, and people have this experience.
So
go ahead.
Another piece is that, like you were saying, we worry about how the other person's doing, and we think about sex as a performance often. So am I touching right? Am I making this person feel the right way? And that's another thing we have to kind of learn to get out of and back into our own bodies.
Yeah.
And they'll avoid certain things because you're self-conscious about it, which isn't, you have to be able to be willing to fumble through some things to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If someone was in college and they were wondering how they get on the path to do what you're doing, what would you say is how to get there, or how did you get there?
That's cute. They're in college.
No, I'm just saying, if a young person was like, oh, I could do this, but I don't know how. Yeah,
no, I get it. I totally get it. So there's an organization called the International Professional Surrogates Association, and they do trainings and they certify surrogate partners. And so that's what I did. Back in 2013, I went through a training, and then there's an internship process. You work with a mentor, but you're seeing clients, and then there's a certification process. So check out the International Professional Surrogates Association. Also, I should say that anything I say here is not necessarily endorsed by the International Surrogate Partners. The International Surrogate Partners Association.
So, what are you? I guess sex is not something that America is so comfortable with. Obviously, what are you? You're in a kind of a, I guess, gray area in terms of. I don't think people necessarily understand. Well, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, what are you allowed to do as a sexual surrogate? What kind of activity can you
Surrogate
engage?
partner.
Surrogate partner.
Sorry. Oh my god. Don't listen to me. No one listen to me. Surrogate partner. What as a surrogate partner? What are you allowed? What are you allowed to do legally, or when does it cross a line for the law or whatever?
So, yeah, the legality issue is really great. And there's laws in place that say you can't exchange sexual acts for money. And what we're doing is not that. There's a whole process, and sexuality is just a part of that. But it's never gone to court. So there are no laws on the books that say that this is legal, but nor are there laws that say that this is illegal. There have been people who have come out, people in high governmental positions that said, if these are two consenting adults and there's a therapist supervising, then this is legal. So though people have said that, there's nothing on the books.
I see. And so there's nothing necessarily preventing you from making any choices in terms of what you think is best for therapy, or you can kind of tailor the sessions according to whatever the patient needs, I assume?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And it's interesting too, because oftentimes it doesn't get sexual, that what a client needs is to feel more comfortable and connected with their body and with their pleasure. And it gets to that point and they're like, oh, I'm good. This is great. And we don't actually get into any explicitly sexual acts.
It's interesting because everybody, I think, not everybody, but I think people sometimes see something like this and go straight to the sex stuff and don't realize how little there is to do with it. But that's always, I guess, a curiosity. We're running out of time, but I want to make sure, does anyone else have a question they want to get in before we wrap it up today?
Oh, that's fantastic.
Emiko, it was wonderful learning about all of this stuff. Surrogate partners, I'm saying it correctly. Before I don't want to screw it up one last time. But thank you so much for teaching us about all this stuff. It was a delight. Where can people find you? Do you have any resources to share? Anything? Any parting words?
Yeah, so my website is healingintimacy.org, and I love talking to people, so you can email me. My email address is on there. The International Professional Surrogates Association has a website, IPSA, that you can check out. Definitely check out the Lisa Ling episode, and yeah, there's stuff out there.
Do you know where people can? It took us a while to find it. Can people? Is it online? Is it gonna be online soon somewhere?
It's unfortunate. I'm not sure. I know I asked the producers, and it's a little bit circuitous to get to it through the CNN website. But I think there should be something coming out that'll make it a little easier, but I'm not sure when and what that will look like.
Well, listeners, if you have trouble finding it, let me know. I know where to get it. Amigo, thank you so much for talking to us.
It's a pleasure.
We will, I hope everything keeps going well with the surrogate partner. And we will... we might send a few people your way.
Oh, fantastic. All right.
Thanks so much for talking to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Take good care.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
Bye. All right, it's time for some questions. We're going to answer some questions. Guess what? Matthias has a comment, and it's about last week's episode. And it says, I believe the way it worked was the chat bots would do the internet work, and if they meet up, it was escorts or hookers. And that is in response to the Ashley Madison discussion. That wasn't last week. That was 2 weeks ago.
That was a while ago, but I think you just posted it. So.
Yeah. No, it wasn't a while ago. It was 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it was 1 week ago for everybody else.
I barely remember what happened in the interview we just had. So
yes, but anyway, thank you for the information. It sounds like the chatbots would just get they get things started. They onboarded. And then a wonderful affair occurs. But now, a question read by the amazing Erica.
Todd, 20-year-old straight male asks.
Todd.
Oh, I heard thawed. I was like...
20-year-old straight male asks.
We just got him out of the freezer.
My girl has got into cat breading and it's leaving crumbs everywhere. I tried talking sense into her, but she won't clean it up. We don't live together and only got together like 8 months ago, but still. I get to her place and it's got bread chunks all over. She says it's her place and the cat will eat it. Her mom pays her rent, and the cat is anorexic. The cat looks like a bag of skin. She takes pics, and it's like a disease. Nobody likes her pics. Do I have to break up with her?
Okay. We're going to take a look at this picture. By the way, obviously the answer, the picture was sent in so we could see what this monstrosity looks like. But obviously the answer is take her cat to a nurse to get fingered because it's anorexic.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
You want Richard? Is that the cat you want?
That's not even good bread.
That looks like something I've seen online, like that exact.
Yeah,
Well,
a
no,
little while ago,
she's
it was a
posting them
thing.
online.
It was called inbred cats.
No, I
because
mean
it's
like
a
that
cat
exact
inbred.
picture.
Oh,
it might
really?
be her picture, or maybe someone.
Yeah, or maybe the
I think
idea.
someone's fucking with us.
It also could be the idea of the picture. Like, did he say
Yeah.
it was an actual picture? Because it
No,
could
he
be
didn't even
just-
mention it. I didn't even notice it until we were like sitting down, and I was like, remember when I did that
That's
earlier?
a really ugly cat. Sorry, not sorry.
No.
Yeah. Well-
the skinless cats are cute.
Ugh.
Here's the deal.
Not with bread on there. Could we at least agree on that one? That
Okay.
that did not look like a healthy situation.
Here's the issue.
Oh.
You do that once. Yes, you should break up with her. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. I'll tell you why.
Seems like you want to.
Anyone who does that more than once. Okay,
Right,
more
it's the same
unless you didn't get a
cat.
picture the first time. If you do it like more than 3 times because you weren't trying to get a picture, why would you be doing that every day and have crumbs all around?
It's not like it's going to look different. It's always going to be the same anorexic cat.
Yes, unless you get different loaves of bread.
But that bread looked shitty. Didn't even look like good bread.
It did not look like good
Well,
bread.
do you
there
want to use your
scenes?
good bread on a cat?
If you're going to try to go for variety because you're doing it all the time, yeah, like make a fucking baguette, make a miche, like be
It's
creative.
bread
True, and then like
Yes,
post
a
them
cat bread
online.
bowl.
But to him, it sounds like she's just doing it, and there's crumbs around. Your girlfriend sounds like she has a mental illness. I apologize.
I don't know if that's what it sounds like, but it's
Well, it sounds like he just wants to break up with
Like,
her,
this
and this
one's
might
kinda
be
cute.
unrelated.
You know,
See-
you're like, oh, look at this
Yeah.
funny cat and this.
But
slice
it's a
of white
different
bread.
cat, different bread.
yeah, different cat, different bread.
Would be a worse
We
problem.
might have an episode title now.
Yeah, different cat, different bread.
This one put it in a pizza. Again, variety.
Yeah.
You know?
There we go.
Show that,
And it
camera.
makes it look like a wizard.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Wait, show it again because it was all blurry. Hold on, I'll hold it in front of my
The
face.
cat's pretty cute. It's funny.
It is.
It's a waste of a piece of pizza, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bottom line, break up with your girlfriend. She's either got a mental illness or she's got an issue with bread.
This is why y'all gotta watch the video because we show you cat pictures and they're disturbing or not disturbing.
Yeah.
You'll never know unless you go to youtube.com/awkwardhuman.
See,
This is a fail, I would say, but at least they were creative and they used a baguette for a change.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It looks like one of
Someone did
those
a pita bread.
soldiers that stands in front of.
Dude, if your girlfriend is using different breads
That
every
way, Richard,
time,
that way.
that might be okay.
Here you go, audience.
If it's always the same bread, then no. That's
No.
where I draw the line.
And always the same cat.
So we're not gonna help this person, and I'll just break up with the girl.
No,
No,
I mean,
we
I
are,
think
we're,
we said,
we're helping him.
is she using different breads? Is she using different cats? If the answer is no to both, then you probably should break up with her.
Yeah, there's not too many levels on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I want to encourage breaking up or anything. It's just more that, like, the way you asked that question, it sure seems like that's what you want to hear.
And it seems like there's probably other reasons because, like, let's say Richard started doing this with Pan. Would your first thought be, oh, I need to break up with Richard? No. You'd be like, why are you doing this? That's weird. And then eventually you'd be like, I think we need to talk. You can't do this to the cat anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you liked it.
And also, if you said that, you'd be, and if you said, "This is my place. There can be crumbs everywhere because of my bread fascination with cats," that would be a shitty thing to say. Rather than, okay, I'll have a designated bread cat area.
Yeah, why not do the whole thing? The whole thing just seems like a very simple solution, and she's not willing to do it. Maybe she's trying to get you to break up with her.
Yeah, I bet he's gluten free.
Oh, dude, if that's the problem, we got other things to talk about, I guess.
Okay, maybe it is a real photo. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
finding
haven't
it.
seen this anywhere.
Y'all
in
are
my search.
both. I love that y'all are both
But I
trying
did
to.
find this Sphinx.
Oh, God.
You've been
That's similar and also wrong.
little more that way. So
Oh my god. See,
hold
you
on.
guys.
There we go. There it
Hilarious.
is. There it is. It's a little blurry, but it works.
It sounds like this is like the last straw for him, and he's like, I don't like her that much, and she's leaving crumbs everywhere with these dumb photos of cats and bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also, it's so overdone. That's
I
my
wanted to
problem
believe
with
this
her.
was fake, though.
Do what?
I wanted to believe this was fake, though.
What, cat breading or this specific one?
This specific, the specific one, because you said you saw that picture before.
I thought I did.
Well, you know
Oh,
why?
I'm
Because as
sorry,
you
dude.
scroll through,
I'm
they
sorry
all
this
look
is your
exactly
wife.
the same.
Yeah.
So it's like, stop it, people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Stop.
why I'm really disappointed in this girl. Is there's no creativity.
No. At least do a wiener dog in a hot dog bun like this.
Oh, but that's adorable.
I know.
And like this other
Change
person,
it
like
up.
she tried to go the Jewish route and put the cat in a challah. It didn't really work, but like I appreciate the creativity.
Yeah.
This other one put 2 slices of bread on the cat, just to be like, hey, I'm switching.
Okay,
it
now
up.
we're just talking about photos that no one can
I know.
see.
This one's a cat sleeping in a
naming
bread
things you
maker,
can
which
do, girlfriend.
just seems dangerous.
Oh, that is definitely dangerous.
Yeah, but they
Also
love that. I believe
unsanitary.
the cat likes that. Cats love going into things that don't make sense.
I'm going to spend days trying to prove that this picture is fake.
Oh, okay. Good luck.
By finding it.
And you too,
Yeah.
sir, Todd.
I know what
Good luck
happens.
to everybody. If you're fake Todd, then good luck to Jeffrey. If you're real Todd, good luck to you.
Yeah.
I guess.
Our consensus is he break up with her because he's annoyed with her from a million other things other than this, right?
He has to
Yes.
answer
Yeah.
the 2 questions though.
This is just the final straw.
All right. Our final question this week comes.
No, just 2 questions. Okay.
Well, yeah, because we had so many questions for Emiko. This one comes from. Oh right, Hosea.
What?
It's a pseudonym. That's not this woman's real name. Hosea. What do you think?
Hosea?
Hosea? Okay. It has nothing to do with the question, so I really don't know. But a 31-year-old female. Does it say homosexual? I didn't get the impression that this was. We have so many options now, it's confusing everybody. She writes, "Hello, my awkward lovelies. I got a quickie for you." This is not the voice,
An
right
accent
voice.
faded real fast.
I
Yeah.
love it.
This is an erotic dream. This erotic dream gets all up in me on the reg. When I'm like Marilyn Monroe in the air vent dress scenario.
Okay, Maggie Smith.
But instead of air, I get blasted by a garden hose. Question, is it safe? The dreams are... I think...
Is the dream safe?
to do it for real, I think.
Oh.
She says, the dreams
so-
are exquisite.
Is
That's
it
why
a
I
real
thought of
dream
that
or is it a
voice.
fantasy?
But I did not think about the rest. It sounds like
Is
she
she
has
dreaming
a
at
dream.
night?
She has a dream. I don't know when she's having the dream. I don't know if it's like a Martin Luther King Jr.
Right,
kind of
that's
dream.
what I'm asking.
But I'm guessing not because she's getting splashed in her vagina with a hose.
No, but some people could be like, I have this thing I'm thinking about and it sounds really hot versus I had a dream at night and now I want to reenact
Yeah.
it.
It sounds like she's having an actual dream. to me.
Inside the vagina with a hose?
Well, she's
In the-
standing over a hose that's spraying
Yeah,
up.
yeah. Like so Marilyn Monroe. Let's just try to like piece this together. I'm gonna put the cameras on auto rotate for a second so I can
In the 7-year itch.
gesticulate. The 7-year bitch. Are you saying? Is that what you're?
It's the 7-year itch.
Oh, Itch.
I believe it's that film.
Yeah.
Yes. Where she's like, ooh.
In a white dress and
Oh, yeah.
she's over a vent and it
Yeah.
blasts air, yes.
Maybe we'll put a clip
Is
of
she's-
that in.
and she's asking if that's safe.
No, she
Well,
wants to use
well,
a hose
Instead of
instead.
the air, it's water.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's if the hose is involved. Is like the hose coming up through the vent and sneaking right up. Like, I just imagine it slowly creeping up the dress, getting right in front of the vagina, and going.
Well, see,
Well, it depends on if you're going in or if you're going on the outside because I don't know, and I always want to say like you never have to answer this, Erica, but when it's me and you, we're like we're the two with the vaginas. But I grew up doing the faucet masturbation.
Oh.
I don't know. If,
So you've actually done this?
yeah,
That doesn't go in your vagina.
that's
though.
why I'm wondering because she
Yeah.
doesn't say it
so
goes
you know
in.
exactly what he's
It's,
talking
it's a pretty common thing.
It's a common
yeah.
thing. So there's 2 ways to do it. If we're fancy, we were poor. If you were fancy, you had like the little handle thing that came down
shower
from the shower.
massager.
We did not. We were poor. So you would lay your legs up against the wall and you would just let the actual bath faucet go down. And I would tape
That seems perfect.
The My Prerogative Britney Spears album had just come out, and it came with a fold-out poster. I would tape it to my.
Wow.
This is 100% true.
You like really went out to do this.
I would get ready. My parents were
Candles?
gone. I knew it was time. I would tape the Britney Spears My Prerogative poster onto my bathtub, and then I would put my legs up. This is gonna ruin my career.
Or make
My
it.
legs up, and I would let the bath faucet run down, and it will get you off like a vibrator. When you're 14 years old and that's all you know, and you're a lesbian, you're figuring it out, and My Prerogative comes out, that's what you do. And so,
Did you ever listen to the Bobby Brown version while doing it?
no. Terrifying. Oh my god. But yeah, so if it doesn't go in, I know that that's okay. So
Okay.
but the question
here's
is,
what I think though, if you are going at it in a Marilyn Monroe kind of way, you're not going to be aiming the faucet into your vagina.
Yeah.
And personally,
you just
there's
put it on the
no
ground
way it
and
would go
and stand
up
over
for
it.
me unless it was like I was putting it up there. You know?
True.
But I think a garden hose would be really cold and uncomfortable, and this faucet thing seems like a good
the
compromise.
faucet thing was great
But
because
that's
you would
not
go
her
back and
fantasy.
forth.
Well, see-
but
you could pretend it's a hose.
could
That's the
it
fantasy.
work in your mind if you were like, this is what I'm thinking about?
Well, first of all, you're not upright. You're like the opposite direction because your legs are up instead of down and your head is down instead of up.
It's true.
You're not clothed. You're not outside.
But maybe it's the basic idea of it.
I think you guys aren't being creative. What I was picturing was one of those ones where you connect the hose to one of those garden.
A sprinkler?
That sounds very safe.
You know the
I
ones
think that'd
that
be totally
go
safe.
up and down and they arc and everything.
That just seems like a tease,
That's
though.
what I like. She just stands over that with a white dress, and then it just kind of like goes up her leg to the
Yeah.
center to her vagina, then back.
That is such a
Alright,
tease. It's like,
Richard?
hey, I'm gonna get you off. No. Hey, I'm gonna get you off. No.
Richard-
But some people like that tease. They like to edge.
Yeah, if you're no, but if you're right on top of it, Richard, did you ever sit on one?
No,
Well, she doesn't want to sit on it. She wants to stand.
Okay, it's not gay if you sat on a sprinkler.
no, I'm talking about the one that moves.
Yeah,
I'm not-
no, I
Well,
know.
how would you
I-
sit on that? It would just not move. You'd break it.
You run over it and then you sit down. You don't sit like
You
Sounds
squat
like
over
Adam
it?
yeah, you
experimented with
sit
this as
over
well.
it.
I
not like
never did that.
Right on top.
I never did that.
We did. Me and my friends. We sat on every sprinkler
Okay.
with bathing suits on, but still.
They're in there.
Got your colonic in early.
No, because we had protection, and it was not gay. So if you're worried about being gay, you can still sit on a sprinkler. It's gonna be fine.
Their dads are all getting together, like, why are there so many broken sprinklers?
No, we were very well behaved, and we didn't weigh anything, so the sprinkler could handle it.
Oh, you were gentle.
Okay, so
Like children are.
first of all, we're not
No,
giving
okay,
you
that
any
was-
sort of medical advice. You should ask a doctor or professional if you really want to know what's safe and what's not. This is not medical. Second of all, I think if you were doing the sprinkler, how the fuck would it even go up your vagina long enough to do anything? That'd probably be totally safe. Third of all, is she actually trying to get off? Or does she just have this dream where it feels nice to have her dress go up and
I
have
feel
this
like-
water go
I
off?
feel like in reality, it is not going to be as good unless you are really. If you've been fucked by an icicle or something before, then
Yeah,
maybe you
I know. I would.
and like
the
that.
cold
then-
would be very unpleasant to
Yeah.
me personally. So if it wasn't warm, I don't think I would find it arousing in any way.
Do it in the shower. Take the thingamajig that you hold in your hand that, that extends, those things like grandmas have them because they need to wash themselves.
All the folds. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
They're great though. You don't
folds.
have to be a grandma.
I don't,
I don't
absolutely.
like holding it personally.
I don't like that the rest of the shower turns off, but if it's one of the ones that where you can get the spraying part and still have it coming
yeah.
on
Oh, that's
Then-
so
That's-
nice.
I
It's
had
just a
that
double
in New
shower.
York, and
Yeah.
that was amazing.
you. Yeah, those are great, especially if it's like one of those big rain shower heads where it's just like we've taken all the water
Yeah.
from like a tropical country and now they don't have water anymore, but
Yeah.
you get to enjoy a shower for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Those are.
I just really don't
that's
want to
amazing.
wash my hair while I'm holding the shower. I need both hands to
I know.
foam.
But you're not
Yeah.
gonna be washing your hair while you're masturbating.
Oh no, I'm just complaining about showers that are
Those
removable.
ones where you
How
hold
I don't
them.
care for them, generally
Yeah.
Yes,
speaking.
it's important.
more
Yeah.
work. You have to hold it while you bathe. Like
Yeah.
you're just washing and holding and washing and holding.
But I think you could test it like that if you're going inside your vagina, then I think you should check WebMD or something, because I don't think it's good to have water in your vagina.
Because you're
That's the place
not
to go
really
for
supposed to
information.
douche, you know, because
Yeah.
vaginas are self-cleaning. So if it's like replicating the effect of a douche, that's probably
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah,
But
but
if
if
you're
it's
just
hitting the
pushing up
outside
there.
areas.
Yeah, well, also if you're doing the shower massager technique, you're probably trying to stimulate your clit anyways.
Yeah.
I got an idea. Female condom. What can it do? It can protect you from getting water in your vagina.
I think if the water was really powerful, it might
You
blow
just
right
push
out.
it up in there.
Yeah.
Get some painter's tape and get it on.
Some painter's
I think you should just stick to the outside.
Don't want it to get the acid. on the
Don't
skin.
blow a female condom into your
Yeah.
uterus.
Also, painter's tape barely stays on a wall, much less a vagina.
I just want
A
to make
wet
sure it can
vagina
get
at
off.
Yeah,
I'm not making
it's true.
make that joke 'cause it's dumb, but just pointing it out. Well, you got options now.
The world is your
Hosea?
sprinkler. Go out and
Hosea.
get
The
it.
world is your sprinkler.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
God, we have so many show names, and that's the one I remember. We're done. Okay.
Bye.
We did it, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming. We have a special guest next week, which I can say for sure is but no one. I say
Is
that like,
special?
oh no, for sure that she's going to be on the show.
Okay.
It's more of actually we don't have people forget to be on the show on Awkward very often. It's more of a supercharged thing. So that was where that frustration came from. Anyway, we are going to talk to Mrs. Harley, who is a tech dom and financial dominatrix, and Matthias actually recommended her, and it is a fascinating conversation. We've already had it, so I can say that definitively.
I'd like to leave with one note.
Mhm.
If you're gonna go in and get a pap smear, ask your doctor if you could rub some of the lube on yourself.
Why though?
I feel
All
like
right.
I do feel like that would make it worse.
I'm just saying, like, just a little bit on the vagina, so you don't have to,
Men.
not to get aroused,
Yeah.
but to help out with the
I
process.
appreciate that you're thinking about women's health. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I think that, however, if you see a professional such as I did who is so good at her job, you actually won't need it. And you'll just be like, huh, it just went up.
Richard's just saying you should be involved in your own health
Yes.
procedures.
Yes.
That
you
I
gotta
totally agree with.
take power
Talk
for
about
own
your
body.
feelings, your needs, advocate
Yeah.
for yourself.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and lube it up if you gotta.
Yeah, lube it
I
up.
guess. All right. Well, 509 Awkward's the number to call or text if you have a question that you want to ask us. You can also go to awkward.email, of course, to send in an anonymous or not anonymous or pseudonymous email or just a form. Email questions at awkwardhuman.com. You guys know the whole spiel, and you're going to hear it again in a second because that's how this goes. So thank you for listening. Thank you, Emiko, for joining us today. And thank you to Jeffrey and Erica and Richard and me.
Oh,
You're
being
so
here. Thank you for Rocco for not throwing up during the episode, but beforehand only. God, I gotta
thank
thank
you
the
to my
Academy.
mom for always being there for me.
The man upstairs, God.
Thank
Looking
you to
at
Jesus
you.
Christ, because he is risen on this day.
I'm sorry, is it your mom? Okay,
And-
bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
You have a question, story, comment, or whatever for the Awkward Human Survival Guide? We want to hear it. We read everything we get on the show, censored for your privacy if you wish, and might laugh about your problem because tragedy loves humor, but genuinely want to help you out. If you've got something to share with us, even if you think it's stupid, send it in as anonymously or proudly as you wish. You can do all of that at awkward.email. You just go to http://awkward.email. Oh yeah, and watch the videos on YouTube, youtube.com/awkwardhuman.